Hello there. I want to talk to you today about exploring vintage razors. Now, uh, I don't have a big, huge selection of vintage razors. I've got some pretty basic stuff. There are guys on the forums that have some very coveted vintage type razors. I'm not one of those guys, but I do have a few, and I just wanted what kind of prompted this video was this razor here. This is a This was made by a company called Treat, and it's a copy of a Jim Junior Parade. It's basically, I think, a 1912 style head. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And on a plastic, a stubby little plastic handle, mine has a maroonish, reddish looking, brownish looking bottom to it. But uh, Jim made one that looks exactly like this, and if I'm not mistaken, these were probably made by the same company and just labeled by different. Uh, they're probably made by. This is probably made by Jim. It was just labeled for Treat. I'm just guessing. These are older razors. Sometimes uh, the history is vague, and to be honest, I don't know a lot. So, but from what I understand, that's the deal. But this razor prompted it because I've struggled with this razor. I've been on the shave forums and all the SE forums, the single edge sub forums there, and everybody waxes poetical about the 1912. They wax poetical about single edge razors and how well they shave and how close they shave. This razor, the first time I used it, it took 4 passes and I believe touch ups, and I still didn't get the shave that I needed or wanted out of this razor. So, and I almost put it to the side and said, well, it'll look good in my collection, but I'm not going to shave with it anymore. And I thought, no, I bet you I have to learn this razor. I bet that's the problem. See, the thing is, there's a thing on the forums, a piece of advice that keeps getting given over and over and over, and it's incredibly sound advice. And if you're new to wet shaving, single edge razors, double edge razors, straight razors, whatever, it's some of the best advice you'll ever get. And that is, it's known as the 30-day rule. And what they recommend is that you take one razor, whichever razor it is that you have. You take one razor, whether it's a single edge, DE, whatever, one brush, and one type of soap, and you use that for 30 days until you get your technique down with that razor. And the lather making technique, all of these things, if you jump around, even different soaps have different ways in which they lather. So if you're jumping around to 5 or 6 different soaps, you're not really, you need a baseline to go from. So one soap, one brush, one razor is a really good recommendation for about 30 days. But once you've done that and you want to explore vintage razors, and I know there are guys on the forum that are going to probably scream bloody murder because they don't want the prices to go up. Well, we're not really in control of that anyway. It's going to happen one way or the other. Sad but true. But anyway, vintage razors, there are so many different kinds. For single edge, you've got this and a lot of different variations of this that come with metal handles, and there are so many different kinds of single edge similar to this. And then there are other kinds. The only other single edge I have is this Schicke 3 injector, and I love this razor. It was they take a proprietary blade. This injector goes in like that, and you move this back, which mine already is, and then forward to eject the old blade and inject a new blade. So you have to have the blades for them, but you can find them on drugstore.com, and you can find them on eBay and a lot of different places. This razor was incredibly intuitive. When I first used it, it was like I'd always used it. I have a single bit of trouble out of it, and I get a 2-pass shave with this razor that is every bit as good as any straight razor I ever used. So wonderful razor, but I mean, you got this kind, then you've got things like, okay, the 3-piece razors. This is a Gillette Tech ball end Tech, so named because of the handle, and it's a 3-piece. It comes, the handle comes off of it, the head separates from it. You put the razor blade here, close the head up on it like that, squeeze it down there. This is a very popular style Gillette Tech. There's a variation. There are several variations on it. One of the ones being the long comb new. There's a short comb version of this as well, and the comb means these teeth here, they look like a comb. This one has a solid bar across it. It's less aggressive, and this bar makes the blade only be able to touch your face so much, so it's a safe. That's why it's called a safety razor. These do the same thing, but most of them are a little more aggressive. This is also a 3-piece, comes apart just like that one there does. It's got a ball end on it as well. This particular one does. There are several variations of handle for this particular razor. It also comes in a short comb. Then you've got twist to opens. There's one called the Super Speed, and I don't own one of those, but this is a Chinese copy of it called a Weishi. It looks very much like a Super Speed and works very much like a Super Speed. It's a twist to open style razor. My Gillette twist to open is a Lady Gillette. It's blue. They did these in pink and champagne, I think, and I think one other color, if I'm not mistaken. But you know what? Don't let the word lady fool you. This is a wonderful, wonderful razor. It's basically, it's a twist to open, which means you just drop the blade down in there and close it right up. And this is basically a Super Speed with a long handle. And I love this razor. Then you can get into things like this, which is also a twist to open. Schick Krona. That's a lovely razor. You can get them really cheap. They're wonderful shavers. And just, you know, and then you can get into things like straight razors. You can find decent straight razors that need a lot of loving to get them back in service. Real cheap as well. I've got one that I paid, here we go, paid $1 for this one. Now I put new scales on it. I made those scales and put them on there, but you know, $1. This thing shaves like a dream, you know. And the reason I am talking about all of this is that one of the joys of wet shaving for me is all the different razors that I can find and clean up and use that are cheap. I mean, if you look out on the new market for razors, man, you can pay a lot of money. You can get some that are, I've got a Maggard MR6. It's a 3-piece, like the 2 Gillettes, the long comb new and the Tech that I showed you. But this is a modern variant of the 3 pieces, similar to Edwin Jagger. The head is, although I would argue that it's probably a little bit more aggressive. But that's a wonderful razor too. It's like $15 new, but I mean, I paid $8 for that. No, I'm sorry, I paid $6 for this one. I paid $8 for the long comb new. But I paid $6 for this razor as opposed to $15. So the newer stuff, you know, you're gonna pay full retail for most of the time, and they get up. You can go up into $60, $70, and then you can even go further and start and get into stainless. I think there's one stainless you can get for around 70, but then they start going up into the hundreds and $200 and stuff like that. And you know, I don't have the finances for that. And if you're out there and you don't have the finances for that, you know, the used market is a good place to look. The buy, sell, trade on some of the forums and stuff like that. But you know, I'm specifically talking about the older 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s razors that are out there at flea markets, thrift stores, pawn shops, antique stores, yard sales, estate sales, all different kinds of places, and they're wonderful. You know, I shave with a different razor every single day. And I love that. To be able to walk into my bathroom and go through my razors and go, I think I want to shave with this today, and use this blade, and this soap, and this, or this cream, and this aftershave, and on and on and on. You know, to me, that's one of the most fun things about wet shaving. And if you're on a budget, if you don't have a lot of money, the used market is a really, really good place. Now, I would make a caveat that there are some razors out there, this one particularly, that you're going to have to learn to use that, just like, you know, the 30-day rule that they set for one of these, or whatever it is, your first razor. You know, I've used this razor about 4 times. The first time I used it, I got the most atrocious, most sorry shave I'd ever got out of any razor. I mean, I did 4 passes and some touch-ups, and it almost felt like I hadn't shaved. But I guarantee you it's not this razor that's at fault. I guarantee you it's my technique with this razor. I've shaved with it 4 times now. Each shave gets better. And I'm just going to have to continue to try to learn this razor till I get it right. You know, and I have no idea that, or I'm sorry, I have no doubt, rather, that the time will come when I will get really nice, comfortable, smooth shaves out of this razor. But it requires some learning. And, you know, that's up to you what you want to do. That's part of the fun of it for me, too, is exploring how the differences in the way they shave and stuff like that. So if you've gotten into, and I'm not trying to fuel your acquisition disorder or anything like that, you know, you could probably tell that I'm already ate up. You know, there's not any hope for me. I can't pass a yard sale or a flea market or a thrift store or an antique store or any place where I think there might be an old razor somewhere. I can't pass it. I got to stop. You know, the guy at the local antique shop's probably getting sick of seeing my face because I'm in there over and over and over again looking, hey, you got anything new? You got anything new? You got anything new? You know, but it's fun. It's loads and loads of fun. And, you know, if you're into this and you're into, you want to start exploring different kinds of razors and stuff like that, the used market, the older market, the older Gillettes and Schicks and Jim and all the, you know, there's the older straight razors. There's so much out there. Now, you need to educate yourself about the razor so you can look at that razor and see if it's worth buying and trying to fix up. There are some straight razors out there that look like, you know, somebody took the edge of it and beat it on the corner of you know, a table or something and just chewed the living snot out of the edge of that razor, and the guy wants the same price for it as he does one that don't hardly have a speck of rust on it, and the edge is still keen enough that you could probably shave hair off your arm, because they don't understand that just because it's a straight razor doesn't mean it's worth any money. If the thing is not recoverable, then not worth anything in my book anyway. The thing, it's ruined. So you got to educate yourself to know, hey, can I look at this razor and tell whether or not there's anything wrong with it? And a good resource for that again is the forums. I posted a question about uh, one of these that I saw in the antique store cheap, and I'm waiting on a response for that from people on the forums. But I'm sure it'll come. Somebody will know whether or not the razor's worth me picking up, stuff like that. But I would encourage you, if you really want to experience different razors and stuff like that, to explore uh, the antique stores and the thrift stores and the yard sales and all. Just look around and see. I guarantee you, if you look hard enough, you're going to find some unique, interesting, really cool, wonderful razors, and you can have a lot of fun cleaning them up and using them and displaying them if you want to. I don't display. All of my razors are for use, but I love them all. I'm glad I have them, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to reach for such a variety of gear. Once you get into the traditional wet shaving and you've got your basics down and stuff like that, it's wonderful to be able to reach for all these different tools, depending on your mood, your day, or whatever you're looking for, because they all shave differently. If I'm trying to get out of the bathroom fairly fast, and because I don't have a lot of time, but I want a nice good shave, that right there, one pass with that would be a really nice, socially acceptable shave. Unless they're this far from my face with a magnifying glass, they're not going to be able to tell. Wonderful razor. So, they all have different uses, or they all shave differently, and you can kind of match your shave for the day with, what's going on. And it's just a fun thing. So, I would encourage you, if you feel like it, if you feel like that's something that you'd like to explore, man, there's a lot out there. So go out and have fun, and God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.